So here's some stuff for cache that we're gonna need in the strats that we're gonna be using. This is just gonna be like a nade tutorial video, just because it's like we're starting to get into the less well-known maps, so you guys probably don't know the majority of these nade spots. We'll start with A site. There's only two smokes you really need for A. One's to smoke right here, just block off quad box, fence, and anywhere on the site itself. To do that, you line yourself up with this line here, come against the wall, aim. There's this green panel right here with a dot on it. You aim a little bit to the right of the dot, up to the sky, and line up with that part of the antenna right there. And you throw it. It goes through all this shit that's on top of the roof. And sometimes it hits it. What the heck? That's never happened to me before. That's probably too far right, to be honest. That's probably a lot better. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, it blocks off, blocks these guys off. The only other smoke you really need for A side is one for truck. And the way you do that is really simple. You can kind of throw it on the fly. You just come into A main and you line yourself up so that this wall blocks off the outside. So you kind of line up with that wall or the box. And you aim just right in the middle of the box and you give it a good run throw. Even if you standing throw it, it'll still block off what you're trying to throw, but if you can get it deep enough, like, if you really give it a good throw, like a good run, you can get it deep enough to where it blocks off like this much of forklift, like this part of it, which is half the opening here. And you can sometimes get it deep enough so that you can get a guy hiding behind this part of the smoke and have him like kind of just chill in the smoke and use it as a one-way smoke to peek the guy at truck, and he won't really notice. It's a cool little gimmick that works sometimes. For forklift, you can smoke forklift like this, where you kind of just do that. This guy's just going to be in a smoke. But it doesn't really get all of forklift, and you can't really get one. You can't really smoke all of this. So there's usually going to be like a gap in it in between the forklift, so it's not really an effective smoke. Instead of smoking forklift, you're better off mollying it. It still won't molly everything just because it's not really possible, but you do this. But it's the same lineup basically.
Throwing fire.
Except that guy hit it. Yeah, don't bump yourself in that box. But basically just run through it against this part of the wall. Give it a good run throw just like you did with the smoke for truck.
Throwing fire.
Because you want to deep enough that's going to burn people in the corner, in the physical corner. So people can't just chill right here. The other useful Molotovs for A site, there's two of them. You can Molotov quad box like that. It burns people hiding behind the box, and they have to come out either like this or like this. Expose themselves same aim. The other one is for fence, because sometimes people hide in this corner. And you can do that just by like or even better, you can just bounce it off the physical quad box. This will actually burn the guys in the corner. Along with that, you can nade the corner or double nade the corner, and it'll pretty much kill people who are hiding there. Like you can see, it's just gonna land right there at their feet. So if you double nade that, you can kill someone that's just camping in this spot. But the problem with these Molotovs and nades is that there's no way you can do it without peeking yourself, without exposing yourself to where the guys are. So it's good to have two teammates at least. Have one teammate throw the Molotov really quickly, and have one teammate like spot for you to make sure that nobody peeks you while you have the Molotov out, so that you don't just get peeked and die. So it's usually a good idea to be like, have the Molotov out, set it on fire, pop out, throw
I'm
it,
throwing fire.
like cover yourself again, just to make sure you're just to make it so that you're exposed for as little time as possible. Flashes for A, I mean, they're pretty self-explanatory. Like, it sucks because there aren't any really good pop flashes for the site. I mean, you can throw flashes
I'm
like
throwing a flashbang.
over red box, or you can throw them like over red
Throwing a
box.
flashbang.
Like that's a decent pop flash for somebody who's playing like this angle, but there's no good pop flash for everybody. But usually the most common spots for people to play in A are forklifts, sometimes in that corner on cat, truck and highway, which this smoke takes care of. These spots, like right here, like there, which can be dealt with Molotovs. This spot's whatever. This isn't the greatest spot ever, but they can like pop flash themselves out like this.
Flashbang.
So it is what it is. But yeah, most flashes won't actually get people in the A side just because of how it's set up and there's so much stuff to hide behind. Oh, and sometimes people play up on that box. But I don't know, it's a really gimmicky place to play, and it's really hard to. It's kind of difficult to set up because you have to come and you have to boost like this or boost on top of there, and that takes kind of a lot of setup. And if somebody just rushes out while you're doing it, you're just both dead. So I don't know. It's not the greatest place to play CT side. That should be it for A site. Yeah, that's pretty much it. As a CT, like you can smoke. The only smoke you really need for A is like A main. You just kind of aim at this dot a little bit below it and just run through it a little. It's not a hard smoke to throw, but don't mess it up. Like practice it a little, make sure there's no gaps. Like even then, there's a gap right there. So I gotta throw a little more left. To make sure there's no gaps, because like if there's a gap in the A main smoke, an opera can look through the gap and just shoot at CTs without knowing if they can see them.
Smoke.
Yeah, that one's better. So there's no gaps. It's possible for people to boost over this, I think. Maybe not. Probably can't see anything useful. But theoretically, people could boost over that smoke and see over it. For mid, you can smoke Z by standing like here, like at the back of where this tire track meets, where the back of this tire track meets the separation between the shadow and between this shadow and the actual sun, like this. And then you aim like kind of there where that part meets that part of the roof, and just throwing it and bounce it up into Z. Again, you don't want to leave gaps in the smoke because there'd be operas. They just operas that are just hiding there. It'll make it a one-way smoke for them. But people can definitely boost over this smoke and see people who are on boost or possibly coming out of garage. So that's something to look out for. Maybe every once in a while you can just spam through the smoke or throw nades or something. But two good smokes for a mid take are people call crisscross smokes, where one person throws a smoke like this, where you come into the corner and you aim like just to the left of the midpoint of the windows like this.
Throwing smoke.
And the other person comes into this corner, throws a smoke like about here, where this a little bit to the right of this black line where it meets this beam on the roof.
Smoke.
Blocks all of mid. Can't see it from Z. Can't see it from highway box. You can't see it from sandbags. The only way that people can really get over this, the CTs can get over this, is to kind of like run on this awning and kind of try and see over it. But this is kind of a gimmicky position. So that'll block off like the CT half of mid, and then you only have to check like vents or any of the close angles, like the corners or appear in trash. For vents, you can Molotov vents by lining yourself up with this line, coming against the wall, lining up with this edge of the windows, the top edge of the windows, and sort of lining it up with this smoker right here, and giving it a good run through. It'll get deep in vents, and it'll get all vents, and sometimes it'll actually break the other vent, which is important because then if you want to come vents later, you won't have to break this vent yourself and let the CTs know you're coming. But the only way for this Molotov to do anything is if there's a CT in there, which means that this vent will be broken already. This is kind of important because when you throw the Molotov and this vent is still here, the Molotov will bounce off this part of the vent and it won't go deep enough to burn somebody on this half of the vent. But that's not relevant because there's not going to be any CTs there unless they boost in like this. Unless they boost in from here. So that's whatever. Normally, if you're going to have a CT playing events, he's just going to come from mid. But that deals with that angle. To deal with any of the close angles, you can pop flash mid by coming into the same corner that you threw the crisscross smoke, or maybe coming a little bit out of it and giving it like a back run throw. This will flash the front of it, or if you just want to get it so that it flashes the close angles, you can just throw it normally. Go into the corner and throw it normally. And it'll pop flash like all the close angles. Here, 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 and in vents. It'll also flash the rest of mid, but if you do the mid take with the crisscross smokes, it's not really relevant. They'll be smoked off anyway. If you're doing like an alternative mid take where you just do this, where you do like the Z smoke, you can like do a mid take where you smoke Z, Molotov the vents, and come out with a flash and have some guys boost it over. If you do that, you should probably have a Molotov for sandbags. The way you do that is you come out of the roof and you just aim. You want it to bounce in that corner so that it doesn't bounce off the wall. It just kind of stops and then falls down.
Throwing fire!
Like that. And it even burns people who kind of jump onto the sandbags, so it's good. But yeah, you just come up here and you run through it. It's really easy. So that's a good mid take there. If you do like the Z smoke, Molotov vents, have the guy on boost Molotov there, have somebody pop flash you guys for the close angles, and that'll also flash highway box. You can pop flash highway really easily by doing the same kind of back run throw flash. That actually hit the hook, but
flashbang.
Something like that. I don't know. That was a little deep, but
I'm throwing a flashbang.
Where you run backwards and throw it. The flashes that you throw where you run backwards and throw are really important. It helps them pop in people's faces more because they'll take like a higher arch, so it'll make it so CDs don't see as much of it, and they pop a little bit closer to them. So those are good. That's all for the T side of mid. For like a CT side mid, like I said, you can boost over the Z smoke. They usually play Z somewhere on highway box, somewhere in sandbags, or in vents or one of the close angles. The close angles are kind of dangerous because of that pop flash, but vents is one of the best places they can play if they can get there. If the T's rush mid while you're going to vents, you can die while you're trying to get there, so it's kind of dangerous. It's good to have a teammate supporting you. But the CTs can pop flash mid. Like one of the A guys can pop flash mid, like that. So it's kind of important to have a coordinated CT setup for this map, because there's a lot of good flashes that you can throw. Like that's an insane pop flash for any of the terrorists coming out, and like this will pop. It'll pop like on the CT's head if he's playing like right here, or if he's hiding behind the box. So you can just hide behind the box, say, "Can you pop flash mid?" Flash pops, peek, and it can kill like all the CTs, all the T's coming out mid. Similarly, the mid guys can pop flash A.
I'm throwing a flashbang.
Again, it's a crazy pop flash. It's like they see that before it pops in their face while they're coming out. Those are really important to note. For B site's interesting because there's no roof. There's no way you can throw stuff over the roof to get it into B. It's like it's the inside. So, but if you're coming B, you can throw like
Throwing smoke.
a smoke off of that. This will help you get into checker, but they'll usually be a CT playing checker, so you don't want to just go in there dry. I don't know. This smoke is whatever. Sometimes CTs will throw this smoke, so I don't know. I don't know if I'm a fan of it. It depends on what your setup is. But you can also, like, CTs love to op this, like an angle like this. So you can flash that opper by throwing this a flash the same way you threw the smoke.
Flashbang.
But I don't know. Depends on what you're feeling. But also that smoke can be useful because it can get you in a sunroom, and from sunroom you can throw a lot of good Molotovs and flashes. You can Molotov headshot spot by putting yourself against the corner of this box like this, aiming where this thing on the roof, this line on the roof, a little bit above the window. Molotov's all headshot, and it even burns them like right here, so there's no way they're gonna be able to play in there. So they'll have to like jump into the site or fly out. That Molotov you gotta be kind of careful. It's kind of a tight. It's kind of strict in the way you line it up, because if you line up too low, like say I threw it right here, it lands on the roof. And if I throw it too high, like say I threw it like right high, it either won't get all a headshot, or if I throw it even higher, it'll blow up in the air. So you gotta be kind of careful there. As far as flashes go, you can throw like backwards running pop flash through the roof or through the window. Like you just come in the same place through the Molotov and just kind of run back. Do one of those. Really solid pop flash for CT's playing headshot spot. Depends on where they're playing. Like if they're playing like here, it won't get them. But if they're playing back here, it'll get them. For sight, for CT spawn in heaven, and it kind of pops in the background of where they're looking. Like they're not really looking at the window. They're more so looking like here, like obviously looking checkers and B main. So it'll kind of like, even though they might see it and have a little bit of a chance to react and turn away from it, they won't do it just because it's not like what they're focused on. So that's how that window room can come into play. As far as smokes for the site, the only smoke you really want, like 100% want every time you do a B take, is one for CD spawn. It's kind of like, smokes for this map are hard because you can't throw them like over stuff. You can't throw them over the roof. So you have to like, and the only openings, like you can't get any of them in there from here. Like ones like those. It's just really hard. It's really hard to get any relevant smokes through through any place that's not right here. So the CD spawn smoke is you just line up like halfway up this panel on the wall and just kind of give it a good run throw. The run throw is really important because you don't want the smoke to pop out so much that it covers this too, like so it doesn't cover this, because then a CT can actually just run through the smoke and get out here and hide here. Kind of, they can get out of the smoke that you're seeing them. And you also obviously don't want any gaps. Again, if there's a gap in the smoke, an opera can see through it. It's a disaster. But yeah, the problem with smoke is like you have to expose yourself to. You have to kind of expose yourself to checkers most of the time when you're doing the run throw, so you can get shot from there. So it's usually a good idea to have your teammate like molly the back of checkers, or maybe like have this smoke down, have your teammates go into checkers and clear checkers before you go for that type of take. But yeah, the only other smoke you can throw from here that's relevant is heaven smoke. This is an even more dangerous smoke, and it's kind of hard to line up correctly, but it's kind of like this. You aim like somewhere in this general area and you run through it. And it lands like on the very edge of heaven, but it still gets all of it. That's a good smoke. Usually like it's a little extraneous when you're coming into B and doing a B take. Usually it's more of a useful smoke when you're already planted the bomb and you're kind of deleting angles for the retake for the CTs. So it's up to, I don't know, it depends on the strat. But that's basically all the stuff you need for the B site. That's basically it. Those are like the bread and butter nades for cash. Not a whole lot. Shouldn't be too difficult to learn. And a lot of them are really intuitive. You could probably just line them up on the fly. But yeah. This is kind of a bonus, but you can get... CTs can do this. They can get on this awning and get... Let's see if I can actually do the jump. I don't know, it's hard. Whatever. Just like jump off the corner of the box. Yeah, whatever. I don't know how to do it. But you can get up there. You can get right there. So if you're coming out mid, CTs can actually be playing around on your head. It's an interesting... it's interesting. The guy from Boost will see really easy though. So, I mean, it's a gimmick. But yeah, that's basically everything for cash. At least all the general stuff they need for cash. More specialized nades. We can deal about those later when the time comes. But yeah, learn these.